All right, guys. I'm about to start the live streaming. All right, guys. I'm live. I don't know if you guys are trading still. Let me know. I was going to do the training. Long LRC training.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
I gotta close these freaking charts.
All right, let me go to a fully clean chart and we will do SPY or ES, one of the two. So I'll just do SPY starting out, and then I can do others if you guys want. So, okay, clean chart. I always start out on the 1 hour with my, oh, 1 second, 1 second.
I'm going crazy over here watching these charts. Hey, is Metal talking? I can't hear.
Okay, I'm back. No, I had a phone call come in. Sorry, guys. All right, here we go. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so basically, I'm going to do my super long. I'll show you guys how I do that. So here's one way over here. I will go to my 4 hour, sometimes my daily. What I look for is your bottom, right? Like a pivot to start my pull. This is back where this is back in April. Sometime, unfortunately for TOS, I can't go back further on my 4 hour. It only lets me go back a year. So I will also go to the day. And I like to get, let me remove these fibs. I like to get as far back here and I'll put my, just quickly, I'll snap that in. That's all I do is I just get it close to the low and bring it all the way to the right. When I do my super long LRCs, I just I make them the skin color simply just so I know what I'm looking at when I'm on a 2 minute chart. Um, so basically, once I have them put in, and here's how I have my settings. This is what I typically use. Sometimes the 0.25s and 0.75s come into play, but I leave them unchecked for the most part. So
I don't see anything.
you do not see this?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I thought I said share screen. Let me.
Yeah, I see the chat, but not the one.
Yeah, you should be able to see that. Let me try it again. Oh, that's because I clicked the wrong one. There we go. I went live again. Now you should see it. So these are the settings. You guys see that now? The pop-ups?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So basically, it's on standard deviation. And when I pop these into you guys, I'll put these in to let you so that you can copy mine. Basically your begin point, you can edit it right here, right? You can change that wherever how you want. Like if I get it, you can type it in. Unfortunately, they don't let you type in, oh, did they let us do it? No, I can highlight it. I don't think you can change endpoint. Um, so unfortunately, you can't change endpoint. So you'll have to move your dot, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. So basically, you come up here and you grab the point, and then you just drag it until you get your alignment. One thing that I focus on that is most important when you're doing these, when I'm in an uptrend, if my long LRC is going up like this, I want tops and bottoms, but my bottoms are the most important hit. If the tops are a little off like that, not as important as this one hitting right on, this one hitting right on. And then like up here, you'll notice it's away from it. That's when you grab this and you drag it and boom, move. Now it takes some time. You have to go back and forth and do it a few times, but you'll be able to get an alignment. And sometimes you have to go further down, like right here. See how that's pulling me way off? And there are times when this last move may not be perfect, but you try to align as many as you can. That looks a little bit better. Okay, right there. Let me come back. So, and this is what takes me time in the morning, right, to set these up. So on a long LRC or a super long, I'm wanting to get the bigger pivots. Now this is on a daily chart, so that's a pretty significant move. You want to try to be close to the bottoms if you can. But you can see it pivoted here, went up, pivoted here, went up, came back down, didn't get all the way. Now these are ranges, so you have to just watch. Now this is quite a ways away there, but you watch what price action's doing at those levels. And another key thing is if you see a super long and your long LRC and your 20 dailies, this is my 20 daily, my 50 daily, 200 daily, and 100 daily. That's just how I set them up. If you see this right here on a 5-minute or a 2-minute chart, this is a big pullback. It starts to pivot back up above the 20. That's like an easy swing trade if you see it off of a super long. So then what I do every day, I start out with the hour chart, and you can see the super longs on the hour where it's cutting through. But the way I do a super long, I mean, my daily, my typical LRCs, I'll just pull and try to find the best pivots where they're hitting. So here, I try to go to the lows, but sometimes you have to cut across. One thing that you'll notice, and I'll key in on, you'll have a lot of this, lot of retests. That's pretty important to make sure you keep that as your level. See how these are hitting here, hitting there, hitting there, hitting there, hitting there. You can pretty much rest assured that when this comes down and hits this level and you get a green, it's going back up here. It's like, look at this. Yeah, it's so easy to see. And you do get fake outs occasionally, but here's where you enter right here, right? This is a 1 hour. You get this, you get your consolidation, and boom, that's your entry. And if you look at this on a 2-minute chart, it does change where the levels are a little bit, because the standard deviation on the 1 hour and the daily, you can go back, your data comes from way further back, right? So 2-minute, the max that I can go back is I think 30 days. So it can only read 30 days. That's why you'll get a slight change of where they're pivoting. So if you see that, don't think it's messed up. That's just the way it works. However, look how it works. Look at this. Look at this touch. It's insane. It really is. Look what happened here. Came down, closed back above. This would have been your entry that day, right? That would have been my green over green, probably a 20 EMA. What makes these work really well is when I have my 20 EMA running right through here like this. And I said it comes here, hits it, and then boom, straight up. Imagine that right there, SPX, right? Super simple, super easy, a lot of money. Same thing here. This is what's happening right now, actually. Um, but now that we've had this move, I'm going to show this. This is what I've been doing daily. Is what you're going to want to see happen is this come up, hit around here or the 38, and start coming back down. And I always want it to at least hit the 38.2. That's your highest percentage of a new low. If it goes to the 50, you still have a pretty good percentage. I think it's like 60 something percent. I put that in my indicators information of it creating a new a lower low. Once you get to 61.8, you're almost, yeah, I think you're only like at a 20% chance of making a new low. You almost just go sideways. So if you get a pullback on fibs, just keep that in mind. Like if you know you hit here and you're going, don't expect a move below. Yeah, 20% of the time you can get it. So we don't know when it's going to happen, but statistically, it doesn't. It doesn't do that. So let me get off the fibs. I just kind of, squirrel went sideways on me. So basically, that's how I set them up. And then what happens, sometimes like this will stay here forever. Like I'll use this for a month sometimes. I don't even move it because it's viable the whole time. It works. If this drops below here and I see a retest and then it comes down, then guess what I'm looking at? That. Right? I got my 20 daily, my 50 daily, and this line. Well, look what it did at this line. Each time. So it gets below, it retests, pushes down to this channel. As you start drawing these, it's going to blow your mind. Like it's actually insane. And that's why you hear me always saying, hey, you're approaching a long LRC, or I don't want to take this because my long LRC, like there's times when we may want to get in right here, right? It looks good. This is your high. This is your high. But I'm concerned about it getting over and continuing. You may get a push to it and then it fails. So I want to see it go above and close above and then get continuation in some cases. But when I'm doing my levels, this would be an obvious level, right? Your high, your all-time high here. Yeah. Why is it not? There it is. And look at that today. It got over, but then it failed. It consolidated and then shot down. So, and once again, what did it stop at? Right? It just goes to show how important and how key these long LRCs are. So it's pretty incredible, right? I mean, anybody else, and what actually probably took place right here is you broke your all-time highs, which was over here, this line. And a lot of people jumped in and they're not using this. They jumped in expecting huge moves. I'm talking a lot of the traders, and then it failed. Got back below, and that was that. So, and that's where we're at now. Now we can look for calls here, but we're done. I mean, I'm done. I'm done. But if it comes down and you start seeing it build, then, and it already is, because you're getting, this is your wick on a 1 hour chart, so you're already starting to go up off of that level. Can it fail that level? Yeah, look for your fibs to push, and then if it gets below, this would be your next put. Or your put would be fibs, right? Here's your 50% from here to here. You could just watch it pull back. If it goes up and starts to give you like a red under red, then you can get back in and potentially trade to this level. But look for, like the market that we're in, it could wedge. Look for it to not get right at high or lows. It may stop here, then go, and then just create a wedge. That's kind of what we've been doing lately. we'll have a big move up, big move down, and then it just wedges sideways for the rest of the day, unless we get news. Does anyone have any questions? That's pretty much it. The only other thing I can add is I do adjust. So sometimes as you're moving, oh yeah, let me show you that. So I'll use this as an example, just this area. So once we start getting lower highs, oh, this is my high low. If you guys, I put it in the indicators if you want it. It just gives you high and low, higher high, higher low indicators. So if you want it, it's in there. And if you can't find it, I'll give you a link to it, or give you I'll put it back in. Oh, so even though SPY is on an uptrend overall, right? If we go and look, let's just go to a weekly chart, huge uptrend, like no question. So when everybody says that the sky is falling, don't listen. The sky's falling if it gets down here and goes below this level. we're now in a pretty big bad area, but then we still have these big pivots, right? That it could still come here, and we're still overall in a market uptrend. So, the people freaking out when we come down like this is not, it's nothing. And look at how it came down, hit the super long, going back up, right? So, so since we're in an uptrend, what I will do is I'll go back and I'll look at, say for instance, in a couple weeks we get this, and I notice that we're in a downtrend. So I will actually draw another one, and I'll change it to pink. So this is when you guys hear me call out in Discord, hey, this is my medium long. I just say that because it's simpler. Medium is just like it's the downside, and it's only because it became my mid because I had, anyway, kind of dumb, but anyway, it's my downside long LRC, and at this time we were in a downside, right? From here to here, we weren't making higher highs, or we weren't making higher highs from this point. On the 1 hour we did here, but it still was trending down overall. Once we broke out here, now we're getting to a point where we may be back into an upside trend. One thing I've noticed is when this is my number 2 deviation, right? Once you break these, you typically then are on a trend back to the other direction, which is pretty impressive. So when I have these set in, I will keep watching, and if this had pivoted here, then we're just still going down, right? But it came right here, held this one, went above, hit this one. I mean, look how good these things hit. It's incredible. Comes down, retests, hits it, consolidates down, still going up. Now it's hitting this one. So when you see my charts have a pink and cyan, the pink is my downside trend, and the cyan is my most recent upside trend. And the skin color is my super long. So that way, if you guys see those on my trading charts, that's what they are. And so sometimes, like, you'll also notice, this is something I've noticed recently. Let me do my control print screen. One thing you'll notice also that's been pretty interesting is when you have a cross and then it goes up, you usually get a big move. It's not always, but you can almost always, like when you're getting a cross of the recent and the down, you get a pretty big move out of them. It doesn't always align, that way, but if you look, like here it is going up, there it is coming down. You actually had a pretty solid move down off of that. It took a day or so, but it still is viable to keep an eye on that. It is something that I watch while I'm trading. If I have price come down, like let's say this is coming down right here, and I see it hit and I start getting the price action, the buying up, that almost gives me a 10 out of 10. I'm getting in just simply because when you're hitting the tangents, for whatever reason, it seems to be a pretty significant move. Like I said, not always, but it's just something that I've noticed that's been happening. So anybody have any questions? Everybody sleeping?
I think we're good.
You're good? You're good? Okay. So and that's it. And then as far as adjusting, you just go in and grab the nodes, right? You grab the node, you pull, and you just start, figuring out. You can I'm much quicker at it now because I kind of have an idea of which way it's going to pull and align. I have tried some of the other options. There are other options right here. You can do highs and lows, segment high and low, whatever. Standard deviation is by far the best that I've found. You can do like RAF channels. It's the same standard deviation with some other algos that are, for whatever reason, here, I'll show it to you. And you can see how it moves. Now, when I move these, it literally snaps to the high. So boom, boom, boom. Everywhere I'm at, it's snapping to the high and the low where my cursor is. So it snaps to high there. Where's my other node? I just don't think that these were as accurate, but you can try it. I like the standard deviation so far. But anyway, that's whenever you see the pink, it's a downside overall trend in the recent trend. The cyan is my couple weeks out, maybe a month out trend, and then the super long is sometimes a year, sometimes 2 years out. Because I want to catch the bigger moves where it's going to be, and those become pretty significant. Now you will have price go through them, just like you see it here, but your reclaim is huge. That's where you want to take your swing trade, right here. If you can, if you can trade way out distance. Look at what happened here. Once again, you're below your 50, you reclaimed your 50. There's your entry for a swing trade. Same thing here. You had this one here, got above your 50. It's pretty awesome to use for swing trading. I don't swing trade that often, and I wish I probably should have just used my Marvel. I should have used that on my Marvel swing trade. It probably would have kept me out of it. But I think that's pretty much it. Does anyone have any questions on any other thing, like the way we trade, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
Metal, that's me. I'd love to see just the flow, like how functionally trade, right? Like how you execute transactions so quickly. Like to me, that's where the butter, hits the bread. Like
Okay.
That's my gap.
Okay.
But this is fantastic, man. Like now it makes a lot of sense.
So the way here, this is my, which account is this? This is my small account. So which account do I have loaded? It doesn't matter. Do, 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 do. Oh, flex grid. Okay, so I don't know why that's still on there. Whoops. Let me delete that off of here. Something I was looking at. Okay, so you know how I have my well, here I'll just go through the whole process. So this is my trading page. This is and this is why sometimes I realize I don't want to be trading, because look at all this, man. It's like a freaking ugly Christmas sweater. We're trading into all this garbage, right? Of course, it looks really busy. I know what I'm looking at. I know that some people don't like charts being really super busy and stuff, but once you're in a 2 minute, it's not that difficult. I always use my ES on a 5 minute, my NASDAQ on a 5 minute. I find that it's way more important to get the closes on those. So that's just how I do it. Um, and while I'm trading, I can see my dailies. I can see like here's my daily, my 50 daily right here, and I know that that's so important. See what NASDAQ does. So while I'm trading, I'm always watching this. I'm also always watching my grids, which I'll pop up a grid here in a second. But let's just say I'm wanting to get into SPY in the morning. What I do is I go into SPY, and let's just say at the call, at the money, I do look over here and make sure I'm not at the point like the 50 cent. I try to get a whole number, and you'll notice that um, the way I have I want to see volume and I want to see open interest. And typically your open interest is going to tell you whether or not it's a whole number or like a partial. If it's a partial, it may be the one that's like only $1,000 open interest, and then the whole numbers are usually the high, which is what you want. You want the higher volume that's going to give you the most moves, right? So I'll click that. I'll do it again. Add SPY to puts. So if I want to do puts or calls, that's what I do. And I load my call and put columns. And if I want to trade SPY, I'll just go in, click SPY, and click this. And here I'll just trade one real quick. It's see if I can trade one. Yep, I'm in puts now. And I'm trading into the 50. I would never normally do this, but just for showing. I'm not going to lose a lot here. I'm just going to show you. I'll probably make a little bit. So, okay. All right. I'm going to just go ahead and take that little bit of profit. So I made a touch of profit. I made $4. So, and that's exactly how I do it right there. And if this breaks below here, I probably should have stayed in because I probably would have made a ton of money right now. But anyway, that's awesome. That's awesome. So good. Okay, so I think most importantly are my grids. So you guys see how this is what I'm watching all the time right here. This is how I have it set up. That way I can quickly access my calls and puts. So whatever, like if I'm watching my grids, and let's just say I see PLTRs going off. Well, if I have PLTR already loaded, all I have to do is come over, click on it, boom, it changes here. Boom, look at that. If I had stayed in, how much would I be up now? I got in at $1.43. It's already at $1.75. Awesome. So anyway, and the way I do that is I don't know if you're using TOS, but you know how to, like, I always do. I am now. I use yellow for this. I put this on yellow. You can do whatever color you want. This is just how I did it. It stuck and it stayed there. I unlink these so they don't move or change. Every time I move something, all of these are unlinked. Okay, that's this right here. Yeah. Okay. And then these I keep red. Everything over here that I want to populate on my active trader, I keep red so that they align. Everything is red. And that way I can just pop, boom, it's there. Pop, boom, it's there if I want to get inputs. And then I basically buy and sell market. I don't usually use these except for what I did earlier with gold. When you're in a strong uptrend and you're about to reach a take profit, like a target, I'll just hit sell ask. And if if it takes it into it, then I'm kind of getting my max out. But be careful with that because sometimes you literally go up, you don't hit and then you give it all back because you're sitting there waiting for your ask to show up, right? So look at this. It's just crazy. All right, so the most important thing, I do have this chart I have set up. I just call it my clean chart. It has my higher lows, my lower highs, and this is where I do my long LRCs and my levels. I'll go over to my levels real quick. Levels are very easy. I usually use my 1 hour or my 2 hour chart. What I look for when I'm doing my levels is really key supports that have become resistance or resistance have become support are my most important levels, like right here, right? Look at what happened. This pivoted here, but it also pivoted here, came back down and kind of tested it here, 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 here. So you know that this is a pretty significant level. Can you bring it down to where it closed? Sure. But sometimes, and when you see my, like if I put in a chart and you see a cloud, it's because I want to see, I'm watching these levels too. They're all so close. I want to see a clean hold and move above the whole thing. I'll watch and see what price action does when it gets above. And if it starts to fail, then I'll look to get in puts right here. Oh, look at this long LRC dump. Ooh, boy. That's something. Look at this. It held. Let's see what our fibs did, guys. Check that out. Check that out. Isn't that kind of crazy? Oops. You guys can see this, right?
Touch, yeah.
Isn't that nuts? So when you see that right now, you see the hold, you get this red. This is your entry. That next red. Straight down. Take profit here, scale out, and see if you get that. Simple stuff. Just keep it simple. You know, it really, that's the key. Getting too caught up in everything else is nuts. So I'm going to go to my grids. So my grid, this is my main grid. This is how I have it set up. I change these out during the day as I'm using it, depending on, well, I change some of these, but I change what I call my alternate grid. That's the one that gets changed the most. I don't know what's going on over here. Maybe the loading or something. It's, hello. What's going on? Tesla. Okay. So this is what I'm watching. Of course, I know it looks so cluttered, but for me, I need everything that I'm looking at. Just to kind of give you a heads up as to how I would trade, like right here, 20 daily SMA, long LRC break, that's a put, right? You see it come down, holds, continues. Long LRC, it's aligning. I love when my LRCs and my levels align and you get these retests. You got a 20 retest on AMD and a long LRC retest. That's a get in every single time. Do you always get it? Don't know, but my target is showing up at 211. That's where I would trade to. Qs, very interesting thing happening right here. We've made it all the way down to the 50 daily, a key level, the 20 daily, all right here together. Do not trade into that if you see that on your grid. That would be just stupid. Trade to it, but don't get in right at it, if that makes sense. Of course, get in here, take profit when it hits right here. But do not get in right here because all of a sudden you see all this momentum going down. Can it get through it? Yes, we all know that, right? So if it gets through, retest, and then continues, that's your green light to go. And what I do like is look where this is aligning. Look where this is aligning. SPY. The levels matter, right? When you see them at the same time hitting, that's telling me that's when I take my targets. Look at TSM. Boom, boom, boom. It's pretty crazy how some of them align so perfectly, and it just makes such a big difference. Look at AVGO 362. And so anyhow, that's exactly how I literally trade, guys, by my grids. I'm just calling this my grids, right? So I will watch those, and that's where I make my call outs. That's where I make my actual trades. So like, for instance, say I'm on my flex grid, which is where I make my trades. Say that I'm watching SPY, and if I see NVIDIA breaking down up top, I'll come over here and go, okay, I'll just click NVIDIA and make my trade. I don't have to move NVIDIA to here to watch what it's doing because I can see what it's doing up in my grid. So it just makes it really easy for me to not have to be concerned about everything. You know, I can just look up and see it. So it's all right there. And the most important thing is to watch how everything's working together. Watch SPY getting through this level. This is where I would be like, yeah, get in puts right here, because TSM Qs has to get through the 50 daily though. AVGO just broke below the 50 daily. The weakness is real right now. Like it's real. So, um, and you can see that when you're looking at all the grids. Let me pull up my, oh crap, I did on demand. I wish they'd move that button. Why do they have to have it there, man? They need to get rid of that thing. I hit it all the time by accident. Um, so I call it my version 2, but it's really just it's just my alternate. This is what my main alternates are, but I change these out. Like today, for instance, I wasn't watching Dell, so I put gold here. I wasn't watching Oclo today, so I put whatever it was, PayPal. I can't remember which one it was. Yeah, I think it was what. It doesn't matter, but you get the gist. So if I see other stocks that take precedence, or I like where they're at better than the ones that I have, I just swap them out. That way I can keep an eye on them. Sometimes I just don't have enough charts, because like some of the ones I put in are really good, and like I think Heckler he's the one that's always like, hey, he picks the one I don't have. Like every time. It's so funny. So I'm like, oh, I don't, like Bank of America, I didn't have it on the other day. He's like, oh, it's doing what you wanted. I'm like, great. Yeah, no, I'm not watching that one. But so anyway, that's pretty much the gist of it. That's my trading strategy, or how I trade. However, you know, I don't know if you're interested in me going over like I think you guys understand fully like what I'm using as far as levels, as far as your previous day low, your pre-market high. I'm always watching that. The 20 EMA, you guys understand that, I think, clearly how to trade it. Look at this. Look at this. Boom, entry. Underneath the 485, I probably would have waited for this one and then take profit here. Any other questions?
I think I'm good. I think this is the main thing for me. It's just, sorry, I'm in the arm voice driving reception shoddy, but I just wanted the visual on your setup in terms of like fast execution trading.
Yeah.
So now that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's it. I mean, once I started doing that, I was like, man, it's kind of a little bit of a game changer too, because you can really get in and you're not having to stress. Now, keep in mind, the only thing that makes it an issue, right, is if I get in, or let's just say you don't get into a trade until maybe like 10, like nothing, something doesn't set up, Tiger. And it's by that time, the one you loaded in the morning may be way in the money or way out of the money. So I'm always watching my delta. If my delta's down like in the 0.19 or point, I typically am not going to get in that, right? I'm going to get in the I'm going to get into one that, yeah, I'll go back and change it, which is really quick. You know, I just go here, grab out the money, pop it right back in, and then I'll grab that one. So that's the only real changes that may slow me down in getting into into one right away. But here's something I want you guys to pay attention to. Look what's happening right here. To show you just the importance of this. Now, does this potentially get through? Maybe. But you're talking the 50 daily, the 20 daily. That's a pretty big deal on the big boys in the market. Here's the issue, right? This is why we're going to chop or have a rough day after this. If this doesn't get below, we're already below the 2 on NASDAQ. So remember I think it's last week or maybe the beginning of this week. I think it's beginning of this week and last week. Remember how we just kept going up and then it just was crappy sideways, right? Well, the reason was SPY was below and ES was above, or vice versa. So they literally were battling each other. One, it would move up a little bit, SPY would push us back down, ES would hit it and push us back up. So whenever you see this, it's time to stop trading. Um, if you see this get below and hold, then you may be off to the races for another really good move to the downside. If this reclaims here, of course, I'd want to see it over this, but that would be a possible re-entry. But you can see what Q's is doing right now. It's holding this level, which may hold us up and push us back through the dailies on NASDAQ. May or may not, but anyway, it's just, levels to keep an eye on, to watch, to use as a guide to help you. Hey guys, I didn't know I had a group in my chat. Hope everybody's doing well. Joe Gold, good to see you again. I haven't seen you in forever. I guess I'm live streaming. I didn't realize I was live streaming. So apparently I'm live. Any other questions? Yeah, thanks for that extra $4, man. I'm gonna go buy me a coffee.
Oh, no doubt. Thanks for all this for free.
that was awesome. Oh Lord.
About live trade.
Yeah, right. I've been asked to do that. I'm like, nope, I will not do that. Look at where I sold this, guys. Look at where I sold this. $1.47. Look where it is now. And if I was trading for real, like in SPX, I'd be in 10 SPXs. So look how much money. That'd be $4,000 more or more, or more than that actually, probably with SPX. So that's how you can really make a ton of money if you have enough capital. But even if you have a small account, you just want to grow it. Really, really watch your percentages. At least try to get a decent percentage every day, and just keep growing until it gets more and more and more, and you then you just keep adding, right? Now you can buy a few more, you can scale out more, let one run. It doesn't hurt you as much. If you have a really small account, it's definitely much tougher, but it's doable. You just have to be super, super disciplined and take in your profits, and not trying to get that huge amount like someone may be getting with a larger account, because that gets to be a little bit, the emotional side of you kicks in, and you're wanting to make it all now. Don't do that. Just make your money, move on to the next day. If you can keep yourself green every day, I promise you, man, it'll change your trading, and it'll give you it'll create like a muscle memory, to where you're used to, you get used to just taking your profit, not having to worry about what could have happened. And you'll I think ultimately you'll start seeing your account grow, and you're like, yeah, this matters way more than what than what I was doing. Oh man, I'm glad I got out of Marvel. I took a $2,000 loss on my Marvel swing. It would be 100% loss now, though. It'd be out. I'd be out down to 4,000. So, woo boy. So that was not a good swing trade. But
Swing and miss. But yeah, Metal, thanks so much, man. I appreciate the time.
oh yeah, you're very welcome, man. See you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Remember, help a friend, help a stranger, do something good. All right, man. Take care. Anybody else have questions about anything? KSG, Maddie?
Sorry, I was in a meeting, so yeah, it helps. It helps a lot. So now I understand what you're talking. So that's good. Thank you very much.
You,
And then I was using the studies that you have posted from the grid. So do you use the same, or because sometimes my TOS get hangs out, and then at the middle of the trade, I just need to log out and then log back in. So
are you talking about on the flex grid studies, or
yeah, even I have the grid showed, right? All the
Yeah, so on the
stocks you have.
grid,
This one.
yeah, I typically use all the ones that are on here. If you're having lag issues, you could, I mean, I always want to have my version V5, which are these. I would definitely have your 20 and your 200.
Okay.
Um, Honestly, you want your dailies. You really need to see your dailies, like right here, the purple. Well, this is my 50 daily. You can color it what you want, but my purple is my 50. Um, you want to see those because that's a huge level, right? If you see something
Right.
coming into that, you want to take profit when you touch it because
Right.
you may get smacked. It could get through it. You just don't know, but that's your take profit. Just like right here on Coin, just like right here on PayPal, they're all at their dailies right now again. So I would have dailies, version 5, your EMAs, um, and outside of that, you could get rid of all the rest of the things. But if you're going to use your grids, I also have my my pre-market high low study also, so that I can
Right. Right.
see
I
my
have that.
yeah. So those are the main ones, and outside of that, just your manual drawings. If you have a ton of studies in your in your list, let me go here and I'll show you. So like if in your studies you got a ton of custom studies, I would go through and erase everything you're not using, delete them for whatever reason, because they're in here even though you're not using them, they create lag.
Yes. Yes.
That's what the support reps told me, and I had like 400 of them. I deleted like 400 studies, and it made a big difference in my functioning of my system. So if you're having lag and issues with it, that's one thing to take out. I do know that this study that I created, I use it occasionally. I mean, honestly, it's kind of neat, but my oscillator, it
Oh
creates
yeah.
a
That
lot.
takes.
That's a big boy. It, for whatever reason, it's because I had it combine so many indicators into one. Um, it creates a lot of lag. So if you're experiencing it and you're not using it, just delete that thing. Get it off your system because it may be causing you some lag issues as well.
Yeah. 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 I'm not using it constantly.
Yeah, I mean, it's really neat. It does have its place in a way, because these are not repainting, and they literally when they print, and this, especially if this goes over the zero line, you're almost always gonna be good, especially if this is the 15 minutes above. If the 15 minute is hovering above the zero, and this comes down on the 2 and the 5 and pivots back up, that's you go back and back test. It's incredible how it can give you entries. But to me, I just assume stick with what we do every day, trade levels, and not what. Now if this happens at a level, even better. But this does create lag. So if you're having lag issues, I'd get rid of that one as well. Um,
Yep.
any other question?
I think I'm good. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. How'd you do today?
Yeah. Just luck. So my target is 8%. So once I hit, I just exit.
Yeah.
So that's.
Oh, very good.
Yep.
Yeah. Tesla was great. That was such a good trade. Super good. All right. Well, I think I'll wrap it up, close down the stream. So
Thank you.
you
Have a
got
great
you
week.
yeah, have a great weekend. Goodbye everybody. Have a great weekend.